All right, you guys, welcome. Sorry about yesterday. We had a lot of issues. I think that everything seems to be streaming pretty well, and we seem to be connected to what I'm supposed to be connected to. At least I'm praying that that is the case. So I'm just kind of looking here, but without further ado, welcome to the first episode of season 2 of The Brief. I have no idea if this is working. I'm like monitoring it from my end here on my laptop, and it says that the health of the stream is fair. But, anyways, we're doing this over again. I know we tried to do this yesterday and things just were not working, but whatever. I mean, there's only so much that I can control here in this situation. Now, I want to start off today's episode and the season by announcing this new show that I am launching. It's called the BDN War Room. What is it? It is this dedicated daily programming that'll take place right after this show. Normally, today it will take place during the show as a part of the included segment, just for funsies. But normally it will take place after the show and it is dedicated to what is going on in Iran and the war. It's been 6 weeks since that war started. We're entering the 7th week, and it is, I think, is important that we have a new show dedicated just to that war. That episode will be included in today's brief episode, but normally it will take place live after the show. It's a pre-recorded one today. Anyways, moving on. So the first story I want to start with today is super interesting, to say the least. Super interesting. Look at these two guys here. This is Eric Swalwell and Tony Gonzales, a Democrat from California and a Republican from Texas. Both of these congressmen are involved in sexual misconduct situations right now, and they have both announced their resignations from Congress. But before that, when this scandal came to light over the weekend, there was many calls to expel these. In fact, there was a motion filed by Representative Anna Paulina Luna, and she posted that in a post to X that I'm going to pull up here for you guys. Oh, that's the wrong post. I guess I don't have that actual post here from her, but she did say that she was going to file a motion to expel Eric Swalwell, and then the Democrats were expected to counter that with a motion to expel Tony Gonzales. And so because of that, they both of those congressmen faced calls to resign, and also Swalwell faced calls to end his his governor race in California, which he did do on Sunday night. And on Sunday, we have two Meet the Press clips for you to show you guys. First one is of Pramila Jayapal, a representative from Washington, Democrat here. And let's take a look at that clip.
I do want to ask you about your colleague, Congressman Eric Swalwell. You heard me discussing this with Congressman Donalds. He's facing allegations of sexual assault from a former staff member, which we should say Swalwell says are completely false and politically motivated. Notable, though, House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries, Senator Adam Schiff, Congresswoman Nancy Pelosi are calling for Swalwell to end his run for California governor. Do you think that Swalwell should drop out of the gubernatorial race?
I absolutely do. This is, as you know, I've been very vocal on behalf of survivors of the Epstein scandal. And I think that what we are seeing now is an emergence of women across the country who have been dismissed, told to shut up, told to move on, who have been abused by men in powerful positions. This is not a partisan issue. This cuts across party line, and it is a depravity of the way that women have been treated. And I'm just inspired by the courage and the bravery of the women who came forward. This is clearly a pattern. I've already called for Congressman Swalwell to drop out of the gubernatorial race, and I think we have to hold everybody accountable.
Do you think, you just heard Congressman Donald say he would vote to expel Eric Swalwell. Will you vote to expel Eric Swalwell?
And Congressman Gonzales, I would. I've already said that I think that these things, charges and allegations and the pattern of abuse. And in Congressman Gonzales's case, he actually admitted to the affair with the, or to, harassment with his staffer. This is also important for staffers across the Capitol to see that their bosses don't get to do this to them. So I do think that both of them need to step down from Congress, let these investigations happen. But I think that this is very important, that we believe women and that we show people across the Capitol and across the country that we will not accept this kind of behavior.
Okay, so we have that clip there, a Democrat calling for the for consequences, basically, for both of those congressmen. And then you heard Kristen Walker also refer to a clip of Byron Donalds, a Republican from Florida. I want to show you that clip right now.
Final question. I want to ask you about Democratic Congressman Eric Swalwell of California, who's facing allegations of sexual assault and misconduct from former members of his staff, allegations he denies. One House Republican has filed a motion to expel Mr. Swalwell from Congress. On the other side, Democrats say they're going to respond with a motion to expel Republican Congressman Tony Gonzales of Texas, who's being investigated for allegations of sexual misconduct. Will you vote to expel Congressman Swalwell, and will you vote to expel Congressman Gonzales?
That vote comes to the floor, I will be voting yes on both measures. These allegations are despicable, and they demean the integrity of Congress. These things are just completely unacceptable. As far as I'm concerned, both gentlemen need to go home.
And there was that clip there of Byron Donalds saying that both men need to go. And in fact, both men have announced that they are going. In a statement posted to X that I saw, this is what Eric Swalwell said. He says, "I am deeply sorry to my family, staff, and constituents for mistakes in judgment I've made in my past. I will fight the serious false allegation made against me. However, I must take responsibility and ownership for the mistakes I did make." Firstly, before we move on from that first paragraph there, he mentions that he will fight the allegation. My presumption, and this is what I assume, in that he is talking about the allegation of rape that was made against him over the weekend. He did not. That is my presumption, is in what he's saying in that statement by the false allegation. But he also mentions mistakes in judgment. So maybe we can get some clarity on that. But as of now, I'm not entirely sure what that means. Continuing on, he says, "I am aware of efforts to bring an immediate expulsion vote against me and other members. Expelling anyone in Congress without due process within days of an allegation being made is wrong, but it's also wrong for my constituents to have me distracted from my duties. Therefore, I plan to resign my seat in Congress. I will work with my staff in the coming days to ensure they are able, in my absence, to serve the needs of the good people of the 14th Congressional District." So there we go. That's his statement saying that he is going to resign. He did not provide a date or when. However, Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna did say in a statement that, of course, I don't have right now, but it is on X. She did write that she is still planning to bring a motion to expel him by, I believe, 2 p.m. Eastern time. So that's coming up in about 20 minutes as of now. But she is planning to bring that motion to expel him if he doesn't officially file his resignation with the clerk of the House. And so we will wait to see in about 20 minutes whether he's officially done so. As of now, I'm not aware that he has done so, but we will wait to see if he has. And in that case, I'll bring you that news. Along the same lines, we have Representative Tony Gonzales, who also announced his resignation only less than an hour after Congressman Eric Swalwell did. Let's take a look at Gonzalez' statement. He says, in a brief statement, "There is a season for everything, and God has a plan for us all. When Congress returns tomorrow, I will file my retirement from office. It has been my privilege to serve the great people of Texas." So he wrote that and posted it yesterday, Monday, April 13th. It is Tuesday, April 14th. And so I'm not aware if he's officially filed his resignation, but he did say that he will do it today. And so we do have those two official resignations from those two congressional members. Moving on to our next story. Well, it's kind of a big one. It's the war in Iran. However, I want to show you guys what I've been working on, and that is the BDN War Room, of course, like I brought up in the beginning of this show today. And I wanted to show you guys the first segment of the BDN War Room live today so that you can see what that whole thing entails. So I'm super excited. Why don't we go ahead and watch episode 1 of the BDN War Room? Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Brandon Doggett, and welcome to the very first episode of the BDN War Room. This show is a weekday show where we discuss the ongoing war in Iran. So, 6 weeks ago, on February 28th, the United States and Israel launched a joint operation called Operation Epic Fury in Iran. They killed their supreme leader, Ali Khamenei, and Iran then retaliated, blocking the Strait of Hormuz and attacking ships, as well as launching drone strikes in Israel and in the Gulf states like the UAE and Qatar. And over 5,000 people in Iran and Lebanon have been killed so far as of the recording of this episode. I want to show you guys this graphic here. This is the Strait of Hormuz. So this is a 21-mile wide choke point. This is what everybody is talking about right now because this is what Iran can control. They have the ability to shut this this strait down because of the sea mines that they place in the water and their the ships that they have with missiles on them. That's some of the capabilities that they have to control this strait. And within this strait, tons and tons and tons of oil, a lot of the world's oil actually comes through this strait. And so that's why we've seen an increase in oil prices. And so because of this, we need this strait open, right? We do not want to be paying these high oil prices. And so the vice president was in Islamabad, Pakistan, and Vice President Vance led 16 plus hours of direct talks with the Iranians, moderated by the Pakistanis, over this past weekend. And the U.S. had a bunch of demands, including the end to nuclear enrichment, dismantling those facilities, opening the Strait of Hormuz, and stopping funding Hamas and Hezbollah and the Houthis. And Iran's parliamentary speaker blamed the failed talks as U.S. overreach. The ceasefire that was set in place by President Trump is technically still in place. It does expire on April 22nd. And I want to show you guys this because the talks, since they failed, the United States and President Trump did announce a blockade on the Strait of Hormuz. So I want to read you guys this post to True Social. It's pretty long. He goes, "So there you have it. The meeting went well. Most points were agreed to, but the only point that really mattered, nuclear, was not. Effective immediately, the United States Navy, the finest in the world, will begin the process of blockading any and all ships trying to enter or leave the Strait of Hormuz. At some point, we will reach an all being allowed to go in, all being allowed to go out basis. But Iran has not allowed that to happen by merely saying there may be a mine out there somewhere, but nobody knows about but them. This is world extortion. The leaders of countries, especially the United States of America, will never be extorted. I have also instructed our Navy to seek and interdict every vessel in international waters that has paid a toll to Iran. No one who pays an illegal toll will have safe passage on the high seas. We will also begin destroying the mines the Iranians laid in the straits. Any Iranian who fires at us or at peaceful vessels will be blown to hell. Iran knows better than anyone how to end this situation, which has already devastated their country. Their navy is gone, their air force is gone, their anti-aircraft and radar are useless. Khamenei and most of their leaders are dead, all because of their nuclear ambition. The blockade will begin shortly. Other countries will be involved with this blockade. Iran will not be allowed to profit off this illegal act of extortion. They want money, and more importantly, they want nuclear. Additionally, at an appropriate moment, we are fully, quote, locked and loaded, and our military will finish up the little that is left of Iran. President Donald J. Trump." And so there we have President Trump announcing this blockade a couple of days ago. And today, as of 10 a.m. Eastern, that blockade has been implemented. and is currently in place. This applies to all vessels entering or leaving Iranian ports, as well as ships that go between, or sorry, it discludes ships that go between non-Iranian ports. They can still transit between the different ports in the strait. And so Trump did make another post of today about the fast attack ships that Iran has and the system that the United States will use if the Iranians attempt to use those ships. Let's take a look at what the president wrote. The president wrote, Iran's navy is laying at the bottom of the sea, completely obliterated, 158 ships. What we have not hit are their small number of what they call fast attack ships, because we did not consider them much of a threat. Warning, if any of these ships come anywhere close to our blockade, they will be immediately eliminated using the same system of kill that we use against the drug dealers on boats at sea. It is quick and brutal. P.S. 98.2% of drugs coming into the U.S. by ocean or sea have stopped. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. And so I guess that they didn't really consider these boats a threat then, maybe at the beginning of the war, but now maybe they do, or maybe they're covering all of their bases. Not exactly sure kind of what that is doing, but the U.S. Navy has begun their mine clearing operations. The president did say that they would be using a mix between the more traditional methods that have been proven to work and also some very high tech, not futuristic, but advanced options that the United States military and the Navy have to use. So they have been begun to clear the mines, but Iran has responded. Their military called what the United States is doing with the blockade as piracy, and their armed forces issued a statement saying that security in the Persian Gulf is either for everyone or for no one. No port in the region will be safe. And so that's a threat, a very direct threat there. And their acting defense minister said that the security forces and defense forces of Iran are on, quote, maximum combat alert, and that they are prepared for any scenario. Iran's parliamentary speaker did address Trump directly and said that if you fight, we will fight. And so we have this threat from Iran. They still have some capabilities. They still have, such as the mines in the water, which we did discuss, as well as some small missile boats, and then those fast attack boats, which could be or could not be a threat. Drones, cruise missiles, they still have something to them, although the president has said repeatedly that their air force, their navy, etc., is mostly destroyed. And so we'll wait to see what the Iranians are going to do in retaliation to this specific blockade. But I want to talk about the global fallout because this has ripple effects around the world. We know that the Strait of Hormuz, like I said, a big portion of the world's oil flows through that waterway. And so oil is now priced at over $100 a barrel as of today. The OPEC output plunged 27% in March. And only 31 vessels passed through the strait in the last 24 hours versus 100 to 135 per day before the war. And so we have 230, at least, loaded tankers that are still waiting inside the Gulf states, waiting to be able to leave and go through the Strait of Hormuz. All of this oil sitting on these ships, and they're not allowed to go through, which is pretty insane. There's nearly 20,000 Indian crew members that are stranded. They're running low on water, medical supplies, food, like all of that, because they're stranded because nobody can get to them to help them, and they can't get out because of this blockade on the Strait of Hormuz. So you see how this affects not just the United States, maybe our gas prices and stuff, but really all over. And so a lot of the allies have begun, in a way, distancing themselves from the United States. The UK's Prime Minister Keir Starmer said that the UK will not be getting dragged into the war or into a war. Spain called it senseless, and France and the United Kingdom are also organizing a conference for a peaceful and multinational alternative. So we'll wait to see what comes out of that. Of course, Israel still supports the United States and is backing what we are doing in terms of the blockade, saying Netanyahu backing Trump's strong stance. And so we'll be continuing to monitor all of the ripple effects from this blockade, how long it continues to last, if it lasts longer than the ceasefire, also how long the ceasefire lasts. All of that you can find here on the BDN War Room. I'm super excited for this show. I will see you guys tomorrow. This show will normally take place right after the brief live stream. This will be its own live stream, and then will be uploaded as a podcast, so you can listen or watch it anywhere you get your podcasts. Anyways, I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much, and let's get right back to the brief. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed that first episode of the War Room. Like I said at the end there, it will be a live stream after every show. After this one, I just wanted to include in there so you guys can watch it and get a feel for what this show is about in terms of what I'll be talking about. But I'm sorry, I did receive breaking news while I was playing that pre-recorded clip there, and so I did something I've never done before, I don't think, where I pulled in a video while I was streaming that. And so I hope this works. But anyways, breaking news right now. While that was playing, a fifth accuser has come out accusing Eric Swalwell of sexual misconduct. I'm going to play you a clip from a press conference that just happened from this fifth woman, Lana Drews. Let's watch that clip right now, if I can find it. I think this is it.
My name is Lana Drews. In 2018, while I was living and working as a model in Beverly Hills, and I also owned a fashion software company, I had contact with Eric Swalwell on 3 separate occasions after meeting him socially. He offered me connections to further my software company, and I also had an interest in local politics. He invited me to 2 public events. I knew he was married at the time and that his wife was pregnant. He was my friend. On the 3rd occasion, I believe he drugged my drink. I only had 1 glass of wine. We were supposed to go to a political event, and he said he needed to get paperwork from his hotel room. When I arrived at his hotel room, I was already incapacitated, and I couldn't move my arms or my body. He raped me, and he choked me. And while he was choking me, I lost consciousness. And I thought I died. I did not consent to any sexual activity. Although I did not undergo a rape kit at the time, I disclosed the assault to the people closest to me. I also recorded these events in my handwritten calendar. The assault and its impact were later documented during my therapy sessions at a sexual assault center in Connecticut. It had a profound impact on my mental health. I self-medicated in an unhealthy way. I did not want to live anymore. I cried all the time for years. At the time, I was in a dating relationship with a boyfriend I was fully committed to. I've never cheated in my life, and I would never have engaged in a consensual sexual encounter with Eric Swalwell.
All right, you guys, I want to apologize for going back to break there. I had to do some research and plug in my camera. I wanted to make sure that I understood the entirety of what just happened in that video. But what we have here is a woman by the name of Lana Drews accusing Representative Eric Swalwell of rape. This is the first time that I watched that video, and so I do apologize. I was not made aware of exactly what she had said. I do want to apologize for that as well. But she says that he intoxicated her, or excuse me, she alleged that he drugged her drink and raped her in Beverly Hills in 2018. That is what she said. I was not expecting to go to a cut of a different or go back to this story. This was like I said, breaking news right when I was playing that pre-recorded segment there, so I had time to actually get that and put it into this show today. But I want to move on from that. I just wanted to show you guys that so we can be completely up to date and have the most up-to-date news here and accurate news. But moving forward, I want you to take a look at this video here. Just take a look at it, and we'll react and talk about it after we watch the video. If you're on audio, you might want to go and watch this on my YouTube or something like that, because this is going to be really interesting to watch.
He's hammering the fucking... New developments. It's two hammering the wing. There are multiple dents now. Several dents. Like, nobody's going there, man.
Oh yeah.
So in that video, you can see, and this is crazy, this happened on Saturday at Shannon Airport in Ireland. That plane there it's a U.S. Air Force plane. It's a C-130 Hercules. This is what the aircraft looks like. This is a better picture of the aircraft. It's pretty badass. If you ask me, it's a pretty cool plane. But that video shows a man on top of the plane striking it with a hatchet, the fuselage, the wing. And this is a $75 million aircraft, mind you. And they described it as an extensive damage. And the airport was shut down for 25 minutes. He was arrested and in custody. He's in his 40s. But the interesting thing about this airport is that there is a history of these anti-war or anti-military protests. In 2003, a woman used a pickaxe on a U.S. Navy plane. And then there was also vans crashing into the security fence, and so there was breaches of security at this facility. And so it's super interesting that another instance occurred at this airport with this like anti-war kind of anti-US military protest ideology. And so I thought that was so interesting and so funny. But it was, and then I realized or learned that it was a $75 million plane. That was not so funny. But I just want to show you guys that happened on Saturday, like I said. But this next thing is pretty recent as well. Look at this AI generated photo that President Trump posted to his Truth Social. Like I just said, it is AI generated. It's not real, but it is. I mean, what do you guys think it is actually? Before I tell you what it is and what he says it is, what do you guys think it is? Maybe drop that in the comments because you want to know what he says it is. Let's take a look at that video.
Mr. President, did you post that picture of yourself depicted as Jesus Christ?
Well, it wasn't depicted. It was me. I did post it, and I thought it was me as the doctor, and it had to do with Red Cross as a Red Cross worker there, which we support. And only the fake news could come up with that one. So I just heard about it, and I said, how did they come up with that? It's supposed to be me as a doctor making people better, and I do make people better. I make people a lot better. As an example, the 11,000, I understand your husband's going through treatment.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
He's
He
going
has
through some
cancer.
very serious cancer treatment, so
Yes, sir.
this goes a long way.
Yes, sir. It sure does.
Yeah, so that showed the president talking or responding to what is being said about that picture, which shows him. Let's go back to the picture, actually. I mean, I personally think it shows him depicted as Jesus healing this person. I guess you can say that there is a doctor on the bottom right there, but then there's also a military person and then some other people in other outfits on the left. So maybe it's just like representing like all of America or something like that. But so I kind of thought it was him depicted as Jesus. I'm not sure if I can really see the doctor, but you know, I'm an open mind person when it comes to everything. So I try and keep an open mind. So I'm trying to see what he meant by that. But regardless, he then went on to say that the person next to him, who I'm not sure who it was, but the person next to him, spouse is going through cancer treatment, which I thought was interesting. I'm not sure if that's been publicly disclosed since I don't know the person who he's referring to next to him. But I'm not sure if that's been disclosed. So is he like talking about that publicly? Like, I'm not sure. Just an interesting thing that stood out to me. And where is this all coming from? Like, where is this coming from? Well, let's take a look at this Truth Social post that he wrote. It is long and it is a read. So let's take a look. Pope Leo is weak on crime and terrible for foreign policy. He talks about fear of the Trump administration, but doesn't mention the fear that the Catholic Church and other Christian organizations had during COVID when they were arresting priests, ministers, and everybody else for holding church services, even when going outside and being 10 and 20, even 20 feet apart. I like his brother Louis much better than I like him because Louis is all MAGA. He gets it and Leo doesn't. I don't want a pope who thinks it's okay for Iran to have a nuclear weapon. I don't want a pope who thinks it's terrible that America attacked Venezuela, a country that was sending massive amounts of drugs into the United States, and even worse, emptying their prisons, including murderers, drug dealers, and killers into our country. And I don't want a pope who criticizes the president of the United States because I'm doing exactly what I was elected in a landslide to do, setting record low numbers in crime and creating the greatest stock market in history. Leo should be thankful because, as everyone knows, he was a shocking surprise. He wasn't on any list to be pope, and he was, and was only put there by the church because he was an American, and they thought that would be the best way to deal with President Donald J. Trump. If I wasn't in the White House, Leo wouldn't be in the Vatican. Unfortunately, Leo's weak on crime, weak on nuclear weapons, does not sit well with me, nor does the fact that he meets with Obama sympathizers like David Axelrod, a loser from the left, who is one of those who wanted churchgoers and clerics to be arrested. Leo should get his act together as Pope, use common sense, stop catering to the radical left, and focus on being a great Pope, not a politician. It's hurting him very badly, and more importantly, it's hurting the Catholic Church. President Donald J. Trump. Okay, so that was a very lengthy Truth Social post, and then David Axelrod caught a stray there, but he criticized the Pope for basically criticizing him on the war in Iran, as well as the attack in Venezuela to capture Maduro. And so, I mean, the Pope goes off of scripture and gospel. And I mean, that's where he gets his, he says what he thinks is right or wrong based on that. That's happened ever since the church was created. And so what I find interesting is that when the popes in the past would criticize something that Trump didn't like, he never said anything. But when they criticize something that he does like and is doing, then he says something. But that's Trump's character, as we know. And I want to show you guys two clips of two conservatives, discussing their reactions to this. First is former Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene from Georgia. Let's take a look.
Congressman Marjorie Taylor Greene, I have to ask you if you believe that the president thought he was depicting himself as a doctor, not Jesus, in that post.
No, absolutely not. I thought that was blasphemy. As a Christian, I was very offended. And a doctor, President Trump is not a doctor. And that picture had him in a robe, as Jesus is often portrayed, with light coming out of his hands. And he talked about healing people like a Red Cross worker. I think there would be many people that would argue with that, saving lives. So I think it was blasphemy. I was offended. I think he should apologize, not act defensive. And many Christians across America and the world were very offended by that.
Yeah, so that was sort of the reaction and some of the people's comments under that post, and that post has now been deleted. And that was kind of the same idea as they were saying in the comments as former Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene said, which just said it was offensive to Christians and Catholics. And I want to play you guys now Megyn Kelly, conservative podcast host, former Fox News.
It's completely inappropriate, and he knows it. I don't know why the president's getting so desperate for attention that he feels the need to mock 1.4 billion Catholics. It's enough, okay? It's enough with this nonsense. I know you love getting a rise out of people. I know you're really enjoying being subversive. You upset all the right people. I get it. But, why? Last week it was Muslims. Now it's Catholics. Who's next? I bet you it's not going to be the Jews. It's not going to be the Israelis. I promise you that. That's not coming. This is completely wrong. The president should take down that meme. He should apologize, which is something he never, ever does. But he doesn't care. He won't. He's not going to apologize because he's not sorry. Now, he must be feeling some sort of blowback because it's literally just breaking now that the president deleted the meme. He must be feeling how much he's misstepped with that particular meme. So somebody got to him and said, take it down. You've offended 1.4 billion Catholics who have done nothing to you. In fact, many of us have done nothing but support you. But support you when you get attacked over and over and over. And we would appreciate not being mocked for our religious beliefs, something you seem to be increasingly fond of doing across most, but not all religions.
So there was Megyn Kelly, conservative podcast host, and her reaction to that video, that image, that AI image that President Trump posted. And Pope Leo did respond. He says that he has no fear of the Trump administration and that his message is rooted in the gospel. Blessed are the peacemakers. Like I said, he had criticized Trump's threats to wipe out Iranian civilization, which he made not long ago, and said that it's a violation of international law to attack civilian infrastructure. And so that was that. Of course, actually, something interesting, I forgot to bring this up. The Italian prime minister, who is right-wing herself and quite fond of Trump, actually backed the Pope on this one and did not agree with Trump, which I did find very interesting. And then to end on a lighter note, you guys, I thought this would be super interesting to inform you guys of what's going on in the world of Gen Z, because on the internet, for chronically online people, because here's my thing, right? I am chronically online because I research as much as I can for my shows and just also out of curiosity what's going on in the world. And as a part of my research, I come across, as a young person, my feed directs me towards younger person things and Gen Z things. And of course, I get directed towards this yesterday, a video of Alex Cooper, who is the host of the really popular podcast show Call Her Daddy. This video, and I want to show you guys the video that I came across because things like this come across my feed because I'm Gen Z and also chronically online. So I want to show you guys this video. Let's take a watch.
Hey guys. You guys know I don't usually address this kind of stuff because it feels like a waste of time, and honestly, it's embarrassing to participate in this. But I am obviously seeing the videos, I'm getting tagged, I see the DMs, I see the comments. So at this point, it just feels long overdue. Alex Earle, hey girl. The passive-aggressive reposts and the likes and the commenting on things, I gotta call you out here. You're gonna need to get specific and just say what you gotta say about me. There's no NDA. No one is stopping you. Stop hiding behind other people and just Say it yourself. What's the beef? Because I'm really tired of waking up and seeing you using this fake drama to distract from other shit going online for you. Not interested. I know what happened, and so do you. So talk. Unless the fake narrative that you're creating happens to be way more interesting than the truth. I have nothing to hide when it comes to you and me. So, unless you actually have something to say, I'm out. This is over. Have a good Monday, everyone.
Yeah, so I came across this video yesterday, last night actually, and like I know who Alex Cooper is, obviously from Call Her Daddy, and I also know who Alex Earle is from her podcast Hot Mess, but I didn't know the history. So I want to talk about the history because I researched this after I saw this video. I was interested, and I was also like, okay, they have the same name, so this got to be really confusing. But I'm gonna go ahead and try to explain it to you guys in the best way possible. Basically, back in the day, I don't actually know when around this was, but both Alex Cooper was a part of Barstool Sports, and she had a podcast, Call Her Daddy, with somebody else who I am blanking on her name, and I apologize. But she had her podcast on Call Her Daddy on the Barstool Sports. It was like owned by it, and then her and the co-host, Cooper and the co-host, like split off. There was some beef and some stuff that happened. And so Cooper ended up getting the podcast, and she ran and did her own thing and then started her own network called the Unwell Network. And in 2023, so Alex Cooper owns this Unwell Network, and her Call Her Daddy podcast, she hosts it alone now, and it's like an interview style podcast. So she gets really actually a lot of drama on her podcast and some interesting guests. And so Hot Mess became a part of that Unwell Network in 2023. So Alex Earle became a part of Alex Cooper's network in 2023 with her podcast Hot Mess. And then Alex left the network in early 2025, early last year, and the split was messy. Cooper said publicly that it was a lot of behind the scenes words and a lot of behind the scenes stuff, and people never really understood what happened. Nothing was fully explained as to why Alex Earle left Unwell Network. It is rumored that it's because Alex Earle was becoming so big, almost as big as Alex Cooper, that they started competing with each other for brand deals and certain things like that. That's just a rumor I've seen on the internet floating around, but I've seen it a lot. And so what kicked off to this most recent thing was Alex Earle reposted a video on April 11th from the creator at the Bravo Mom. And the video I'm about to show you is the Bravo Mom calling Alex Cooper, Call Her Daddy host, an ambulance chaser. Let's watch that video right now so we can see what kicked off this whole fiasco recently today and this past couple of days.
I would honestly compare Alex Cooper to an ambulance chaser. Like, you just had the most horrific accident of your life. You're, hanging on by a thread, don't know if you're going to make it, and she's the first one there. And she's a Grim Reaper. She wants to get the exclusive interview. She wants to be there when you're vulnerable and you're broken down and you're ready to sign over your rights to your life. Like, she's so awful. And I wish that more women, celebrities, female athletes, reality stars, anyone who's a woman on planet Earth, I wish they would stop making that their first stop after something happens in their lives, because she is profiting off of women's like heartaches and failures and all these awful things that happen to women. She's profiting off of it. That's not girl power. She totally screwed over her previous co-host, Sophia. The show has never ever been the same. It's never been as good.
All right, so that was the co-host name is Sophia. I completely blanked on that. I don't know why. But basically, so Alex Earle reposted that video yesterday, or no, sorry, on April, I don't, yeah, April 11th. Sorry, the video was made on April 10th. And then on April 11th, Alex Earle reposted that video. And yesterday, April 13th, Alex Cooper posted that video, which I showed you before that, saying that the passive aggressive reposts and the likes and the commenting, like she's calling her out and that no one is stopping her. There's no NDA, that she can just say it. And so we don't know what's happening. But Alex Earle commented on Alex Cooper's video and said, okay, on it. And so we have yet to hear if what she has said actually, like, it could have happened while I was streaming, and I don't know. I'm actually not sure. But as of now, she hasn't officially responded. And so we don't know what this drama is. What is behind the scenes? Although to be a fly on the wall, like, I know it's so unserious, but in times like these when we're at war and there's so much going on, it's like maybe we can actually take a moment to distract ourselves with some unserious stuff. And this is what I have chosen to hyperfixate on because, well, actually, the entire internet has. I mean, like, I don't know if I said this, but Alex Cooper's video has like 12 million views last I checked. So it's like taking over the internet right now. I will keep you guys updated on those. Some interesting Gen Z drama, as they would say. But I want to thank you guys for watching this show today. I think it went fairly well on the live stream, but it's always going to be a podcast that's recorded and put on to the Brief with Brandon Doggett anywhere you get your podcasts. And as a reminder, the BDN War Room will air live right after this show tomorrow. But today, like I said, I had it in the stream for fun just to show you guys what it was about. But normally it'd be right after the stream. And so I want to thank you guys again. You can get this podcast and the BDN War Room anywhere you get your podcasts.